Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui Podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
All right, perfect. Okay. All right, everyone. With MomoCon and Moana Nui, welcome. We have our very next guest. We're very excited for. As you can see, with the lovely hair and the crown, most festive. And I do not want to butcher how to pronounce your name.
It's okay. It's Thranduart, but you can just call me Josh.
Okay, Josh. Thank you.
No problem.
I was just like, okay, I know.
I know.
As soon as I go on there, boom.
It's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited to see you here because it's not just once this year, but twice. You were a guest, a cosplay guest at AWA, which I got to see you there.
Oh, yay.
And then also here at MomoCon's Winterfest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you had really 2 months in between before you got another event.
Well, actually, I just got back from Chicago. I was a guest at C2E2 this
Okay.
past weekend, so I'm really doing it.
You were just going this year.
It's picking up speed. I like it.
Well, I mean, your cosplays are phenomenal. For those that are not following him on social media, he is most known for your Glinda that you did from oh gosh, there it goes.
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Thank you.
I got you. I can fill in the blanks.
It was, I mean, the detail you did with it. And if you had a chance to go to Anime Week in Atlanta, he actually had it on display in their cosplay hallway that you get to see a lot of the cosplay guests' works of art there. So you get to see how the width of that dress.
8 feet wide. 8 feet wide. Yep, I measured it. I'm crazy.
And I'm just like, seeing the pictures versus seeing it in real life, I'm just like, that has to be heavy.
Well, surprisingly, it's not that bad. I will say, if I had to guess, it's probably like 15-ish pounds total, which isn't horrible. It really isn't.
I would have thought it was at least 5 to 10 times that amount.
No, I think it's the illusion because the hoop underneath that is most of the structure is actually hollow underneath, so it looks like more volume than actually is there. So it's a little bit of a deceiving thing. But when I have the undergarment, the corset underneath, it's carrying most of the weight because that's what it's attached to. So
got you.
Yeah.
Oh wow! But like I said, the cosplays that you portrayed, from everything from Glinda, you did your version of. You have, let's see, I'm trying to remember all of it. Like I said, all of them, the imaging, I loved it, especially when, as Disney Plus was very heavily dependent on this past year and a half because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
When
about Agatha? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, Agatha.
Yeah.
You doing it, and you have the black and white look from the series. So I'm so used to seeing people doing Agatha in the full color,
right? The final version.
But you did for your skin, hair, everything. You gave the look as if you were on a black and white screen.
Yeah, I wanted it. I saw the first episode, and then I just fell in love with that. I love vintage, pretty much everything. So Glinda was kind of a harkening back to that because it's an older film.
Yes.
And when I saw Agatha, I just loved her energy, and I just loved the 50s housewife silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, how fun would it be to walk around as if I was in the 1950s episode of a sitcom in black and white. So people just love it. They're blown away. And they always comment on, they don't realize that actually what I'm wearing on my hands and my legs are gloves.
Really?
So I match the gloves to the body make, or I guess vice versa. And it's very effective. The whole look is just very effective.
Exactly.
And I'm really pleased with how it came out.
Oh, that is awesome. Then, of course, because those that don't know you, and of course, we often get the question to ask, how did you get into cosplay?
It was on accident, if you can believe it. So I actually went to school for fashion design, and so that's where I learned how to sew.
Okay.
So that's where my sewing comes from, is I learned in school. But a few years after I graduated, I had a friend from my college who had introduced me to DragonCon. And she invited me to come to her. She lived in Atlanta. I was in Florida at the time. And basically, I'd never been to a convention. I'd never dressed in costume or cosplay before. And
so she literally gave you the 300 kick into the pit.
Pretty much, yeah. And she said, well, yeah, you want to come? And I said, sure. And I said, well, I guess they wear costumes when they do this, so I'll make a costume. And I made Thranduart, which the version of this one I'm wearing now. And the response that I got from people in the crowd was literally insane. I won 2 costume contests that weekend, and I was hooked. Yeah. And the rest is history.
Yes, your Thranduart that you do is just like, I'm like, the hair, it's like perfect. And I was like, the crown and the outfit. And even in pictures, and when I've seen you like at DragonCon 2, you keep that stoic nature that he has in the movies. So I'm like, he even embraced the character.
You gotta have the attitude. You gotta have the attitude.
Because I'm like, a lot of people dress the characters, but they don't really give that energy of the character. It's like, okay, you're Harley Quinn, but you're just like, hey, everybody. It's like, no, that's not Harley. Harley may say hi, but it's not gonna be that way.
Yeah, I try when I'm in a character. So whether I'm Woody from Toy Story, I'm Agatha from WandaVision, I'm Glinda from The Wizard of Oz, I'm Thranduart from The Hobbit. My movements and my body language, I try to kind of modify it as I'm walking around and talking to people, especially for photographs. People want the experience. When they ask for a picture, they don't want me just standing there, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to do something the character would normally do, so they get the full fantasy, if you will.
Nice. So with you doing fashion design and everything, have you been picked up, especially as good as your work has been, by any like movie, Marvel, DC, just putting it out there?
I mean, it's funny because this is really a part-time thing for me. It's a very extensive hobby because I do work full-time. I work full-time for fabric.com and I love my job. But it's tough to say. People ask me all the time, and they say things like, well, you could be in movies or you could work in film, and I think that sounds initially wonderful, but really, I don't know that it would be, right? Because who knows if it would change the dynamic, whether I would actually still enjoy it at the end of the day. Yeah. Because I like the separation of my normal life, if you will, and then getting to do fun things like this, getting to be a guest at MomoCon and things like that, are just amazing, incredible things I get to do in my free time, and I really enjoy them. So who knows if it would change it, but maybe one day. Nothing's impossible. So.
I mean, I could see as the next Ruth, with how she's been transforming the movie industry. I could see you treading that same path.
I mean, who knows? Like I said, anything's. As I've learned in life, I'll be very wise for a moment. That I never know what's around the bend, and I just gotta be ready for anything.
Yeah. So. Well, I love the fact that you've been a guest at so many cons because more and more people are witnessing your talent and everything. Are you looking at expanding beyond what you're doing? Because I know a lot of cosplayers are like, okay, I'm going to get into bone smithing and I'm going to get into this for my craft. Are you looking at expanding it any more as we go into 2022?
Absolutely. So I still have a couple of more sewing-based costumes on the docket, but I do really want in 2022, thank you for prompting me, to get into more of a foam work and technical type costumes. I have a couple of big builds that are really important to me that I really want to nail exactly. And I have a great support system in the cosplay community of people that I know that are very talented that could help me with that. So I'm very excited.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Yes, there's a big community that do that here in Atlanta. So you definitely got I call it a large neighborhood.
Yes, Atlanta is full of cosplayers and costumers and people who just in general like these types of things. So it's a very great place to be for that.
Yes. So of course, with MomoCon's Winterfest kind of wrapping up the year, and we're going to be going into 2022.
Yep.
Are you having any new cosplays that you're going to plan to reveal or want to give us a hint on for next year that we could be looking out for?
So I do have one that I really want to debut soon, and it's actually I posted about it on my social media. It's a fan art version of Elsa from Frozen, but it's a dark version.
Yes,
so So it's a full coat fantasy. She's got this amazing crown that I'm going to make out of acetate, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I've been talking about this for literally 8 years. I really plan on finally nailing the armor version of Thranduart. So finally making that build a reality. I just had a friend of mine who I commissioned the custom belt buckles from, and he did an incredible job. So that's like really been a motivator for me to finally cross that finish line. So
I literally think I heard the screams across the con.
I hope she's okay.
Hearing that.
I hope she's all right.
Because everybody's like, "Oh, okay."
I know. I need to really make it happen because I've been talking about it forever, and I think now is the time to strike. So
Yes. I am so excited to be looking forward to that. As far as I know, most cosplayers they have the cons they guess, but the cons are the must go to for the year. What are your most go to for cons that you're planning for 2022 that the people in the audience can look for you there?
Well, I think everybody who knows me, and even those who don't, they know that Dragon Con is my home.
Yeah.
It's where I started. Like I said, my origin story is Dragon Con, so I'll always really hold that like special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And I made the decision for personal reasons not to go last year, but this year for sure I will be there regardless, come heck or high water.
Yay.
So look for me at Dragon Con. And can I share the other thing as I look over to the other person about MomoCon 2022? Because I'm probably going to be here too. So just FYI, that's on the docket, FYI. So
I like probably.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty strong possibility.
Okay.
So I think I'll be here at MomoCon 2022 as well.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So those that are in the Atlanta market, or especially those for Dragon Con that travel in, be on the lookout.
I'll be
Because you're
there.
going to be seeing the phenomenal work that he puts into these
Thank you.
cosplays. I mean, I'm always in awe whenever I see you at con. Because usually I'm behind the camera for the con, taking
Right.
pictures. So this time I'm not behind the camera. I can actually see me this time.
Yeah, it's
You
nice
don't
to see your
see
face.
Exactly. You're not seeing like con staff photographer. Gotta catch your picture.
It's okay.
At all. So I love the fact that I'm getting a chance to engage with y'all a little bit
Yeah.
more beyond the camera and everything.
I appreciate it.
So for those that are just being introduced to you, how can they follow you to keep up with all the things that you're doing and gearing up for 2022's con season?
Sure. They can follow me on Facebook at Thranduart Cosplay, so THRANDUART. And they can also find me on Instagram, thranduart.cosplay. Those are my two main social media channels. I just kind of post everything there, all my work in progress and
Okay.
my goofy stuff and me just being a nerd. So yeah, follow me on those. Those are the places where I post the most.
Awesome. Will we be seeing you on TikTok in 2022?
I am on TikTok.
Okay.
I posted a couple of videos.
Okay.
I'm trying to get better. They are, I will say, a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I will say to all the streamers out there who are on TikTok, bless you, because you do the darn thing, and it is a lot of work, and I respect it and I appreciate it. I'm old. I don't have a lot of time. So I get tired. I'm like, do I really want to edit this video? Not really.
Exactly. And that's the funny part with TikTok. It's like you got 1 minute, or if you get the permission to do 3 minutes, they're like, oh, that's not much. But it's like, no, it is,
It's a
because you
lot.
got to put a lot in that little bit of time versus a 1 hour
Transitions
video.
and sound effects and all. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really a production. So like I said, I really admire those who can do it and do it well
Mhm.
and make it look effortless,
Yes.
because that's a lot.
Awesome. And I have to ask the question, because
Uh-oh.
I know people ask that of a lot of cosplay guests. Do you take commissions?
I do not,
Okay.
and I'm glad you asked, because I actually ran into a young woman earlier, and I was telling her, because she sews, and she said, "Do you do commissions?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, I sew." And I said, "Well, just so you know, there is a void in the cosplay and con community of people who do sewing commissions and do them well.
Yes.
It's hard to find people who sew costumes."
Yes.
So I said, if you're interested, I'm happy to answer questions, because I've been asked all the time. And for me, like I said, it is an extensive hobby, but it is a hobby, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I don't want to risk taking away any joy from it by working on someone else's stuff.
Yes.
So I have to focus on what I do, because I take forever anyway. So
Okay.
I'm a procrastinator. It's the worst thing ever. Or actually, as they say, a procrastinator.
Yes.
So,
I would say not a procrastinator, but you bring the professionalism, but the also perfect the look of everything.
I do get hung up on making sure everything looks just right. But I will say sometimes perfect isn't always have to be perfect. It can just be done, right? So sometimes I just need to say, you know what, it's done.
Yeah.
Let me move on to the next thing, because it does hang me up sometimes.
Okay.
I'm learning and growing and evolving.
Exactly.
As we all should every day, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, with that perfectionism that you do, it's amazing, from the wigs to the outfits to just how you embrace the character as you walk through the con.
Thank you.
So,
that's so sweet.
And, I just wanted to give you your kudos, because whenever I
I'll
see
take them. I'm taking them. Come on, I'll take them.
I tell people, take them when you get them.
Yeah.
Take your roses when you get them. But I definitely want to thank you for being a guest at MomoCon, but also taking some time to speak to the audience of MomoCon and Moana Nui to get to know you, and that you can they can follow you and learn more through your posts, and also knowing where to find you. So when they see you at cons, they can say, "Hey, I saw you online."
Yeah, come say hi. I'm friendly. Yeah, always come up. I love selfies. Or when I'm dressed as Thranduart, I call them elfies.
Okay.
So definitely come say hi, take a selfie or an elfie with me.
Okay.
And I love to meet new people.
Awesome. Well, I love that you gave the holiday flair with this theme Winterfest.
I'm very comfortable right now, I will say.
Yeah. It's probably your most comfortable cosplay.
Yes, it is. I'm super cozy.
Well, again, everyone, thank you. Definitely follow and definitely get your membership for MomoCon.
Do it.
So you can be on the lookout for him and many of the amazing cosplayers that are guests this weekend at Winterfest. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of Winterfest.
I will. You too. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
I'm Steve Bloom. I've been a voice actor for more than 30 years, playing characters like Wolverine, Starscream,
Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty.
With Bloomfox Studios, I've learned so much about myself.
Learning to breathe, to no fear, to getting ugly in front of the mic.
One of the biggest changes I've noticed, at least for me, is how much my confidence level has gone up.
Done an Eastern European video game, an e-commerce commercial, a documentary. If you're thinking about getting into voiceover, just do it. Jump in.